Welcome to episode number 351 of the Marine Layer podcast. It's a mailbag episode, so we'll open it up and answer your guys' best listener questions.
A reminder to you guys, please do us a big favor if you're listening to these episodes. Go download them. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, you can rate and review. Leave it 5 stars. It helps a ton. You can leave a written review on Apple. And if you're watching on YouTube, go hit subscribe, drop a like on the video, leave us a comment. Again, that's the best way to support the channel on YouTube is if you hit subscribe. You see the button right in front of you. Everything's on our website too. All our episodes, merch, Patreon, that's over at marinelayerpod.com. And you can follow us everywhere across social media at marinelayerpod.
Let's get it rolling.
The pitch from Acevedo. A drive deep to right field. Down the line. The Mariners win this game 2-1. The dream lives. They're going to the playoffs. 1-1 from Jansen. There you go. Left field. We got a tie ball game. Julio. Oh, baby, what a moment. Tie ball game at 7-7.
And we welcome you to this episode of the Marine Layer podcast, part of the Just Baseball Podcast Network, recording here on Thursday evening, January 15th. And Lyle, I'll have to start this episode off with a solemn note. We have to pour one out to one of the most popular mailbag questions that we would consistently get throughout the course of, I think, each of the last 2 seasons. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't know if I do. You didn't tell me how you were going to start this show.
No, total mystery. I like catching people off guard a little bit. The Mariners DFA'd Samad Taylor today.
Damn. I know, we would get asked a lot about him coming up. Maybe they'll bring him back.
I mean, they could. Yeah, he could just stay in Tacoma, not on the 40-man. But a somber day for all of those who say, outfield issues for the Mariners, right-handed hitter? Isn't Samad Taylor in the organization?
I really thought he was going to be Terrence Gore during the playoffs. I really did, but they didn't do it.
No, did he even appear in a game?
No, he wasn't on the roster, I don't think, was he?
No, I didn't think so. So, sorry.
I know, that's too bad. Samad's a good dude, though. I hope he stays in the org.
And he might just stay in Tacoma and be a non-roster Tacoma Rainier,
Sure.
which is totally fine.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys come on and have lots of success. And some of these guys have clauses in their contract where if they're not on the 40-man, after a certain amount of time, they'll get released, and that could happen to Samad. Like, they could get to the cutoff day of spring training where they got to decide where everyone goes, and if Samad's not on the 40-man roster, you could be like, I want to release. Let someone else come get me. Totally possible for him, and that could work out better for him. So we'll see.
For sure. Although I don't know how many teams out there would definitively give him a big league roster spot. So maybe he's okay going back to Tacoma. It's an organization he's been in for a couple years now. And if he likes it, maybe he'd just stay.
Mariners made a move today.
They did.
Do you want to try and pronounce his name?
I know what you're doing here. I really do. You're asking me if I want to pronounce it because you know how badly you're going to butcher it if you try.
Now, I have the pronunciation in front of me, so I'm kind of cheating. But I don't think you do.
All right, I'll try. It's Yosver Zuleta?
Zulueta.
Yosver Zulueta. Okay.
There we go. I know he throws a sinker ball.
Yep. He has a career big league ERA of 6, or at least that was last year. He made 7 appearances for the Reds, 6 ERA, sinker baller. All right.
Chills.
He'll be in spring training. He'll throw some bullpens. He'll get into some games. I would assume he's starting in Tacoma. But you never know. We shrugged our shoulders when the Mariners claimed Gabe Spire off of waivers a few years ago, and where would they be if they didn't make that waiver claim?
That was in the early stages of this podcast, and we didn't even talk about it. Now he'll go and pitch for Team USA.
I was about to say, we didn't get to talk about that on the last episode because it happened on Wednesday morning after we'd already released the episode. You said pour one out for Samad Taylor. Can we pour one and raise a glass for our guy Gabe Spire? Dude, that is so sick.
It's the coolest story. It is. So a lot of these opportunities that some of these guys get to play for their country. For example, there are guys in the Mariners organization who have not made the big leagues yet who will get to play for their team. Like Durangelo is going to get to play for the Netherlands. It's going to be cool. But Gabe, like the opportunity that Gabe is going to get here when he gets the call from Mark DeRosa to go and be in that bullpen. Put our paranoia about the WBC aside for a second. I mean, how far he's come in 3 years from being a Mariners waiver claim without a guaranteed roster spot, and he's got to prove himself. And then he has the down year last year where we know he's hurt, but he spends a lot of the year in the AAA, and he has to reprove himself after having a great relief season his first year in Seattle, and goes out and is even better, and then gets rewarded with this. Has got to feel amazing. It's got to feel like the best thing ever.
So cool. So unbelievably cool. I understand why people have some reservations about pitchers pitching in the WBC, and I understand the Drew Smyly PTSD, believe me. But, number one, how many innings is Gabe really going to throw in this tournament? 3? 4? It's not going to be a ton. And if you can put that aside, you can recognize how so unbelievably cool this is for a guy like him. It's a little different than Aaron Judge playing, where obviously he's going to be on the roster if he wants to be. For Gabe, I mean, it's a not a redemption story, but just an arc of a career that is impossible not to root for, especially if you ever get to talk to him, who's just the best dude ever. It's awesome.
Can I be nervous for Gabe?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
I don't want him to get hurt. I think this is amazing, but I said it in the social post. Everything I think about pitchers throwing in the WBC is the exact same. All of it.
Why don't you tell Gabe
it can be independent. Things can be independent. I can be so happy for Gabe. I can think this is an amazing achievement for him, one of the greatest moments of his life, that he gets to suit up in the red, white, and blue and go pitch in that incredibly fun tournament. But also realize that pitching in the WBC is a roll of the dice.
It is. Now, I think it's been easier on relievers than starters for the most part, as long as Gabe is, he doesn't have an Edwin Diaz moment where he's jumping around celebrating and then all of a sudden he has a season-ending injury, which most people do not have because that was such a freak thing that happened with Eddie. But maybe we can ask him about it down at spring training. Because, spoiler, I mean, we haven't asked Gabe about it yet, but I'll put it out there into the ether. Is that the right term? The ether? Yeah.
Ether.
Or the ether. I'll put it out there into the ether for the people. We're going to try to get Gabe on at spring training. It seems like a pretty good time to have him back on. It's been a little bit since we've had him on, the actual podcast. Yeah, maybe this is something you can ask him when we have him on.
Sorry, Cal, you are no longer Captain America. That title goes to Gabe Spire.
Yes. But I'm sure this is a question that a lot of fans are going to have, right? That people are extremely happy for him, but fans naturally get a little bit nervous about guys throwing in this tournament. So I'm sure we can ask Gabe about it. It's like, how do you ramp up differently? How do you prepare differently? How do you make sure you're going to be at a good spot for the full 162 in the playoffs, even pairing with this tournament? It'll be interesting. So I'm sure Gabe will have an answer. He's going to get down there a little bit earlier than the rest of the group because the Mariners released their spring training dates today for pitchers and catchers reporting, and all of the WBC guys get there a little bit earlier than the rest of the pack. So WBC pitchers and catchers get there a couple days before the rest of the pitchers and catchers, and then WBC position players get there a little bit before the rest of the group of position players. So I'm sure that's part of what Gabe will be doing to help himself ramp up and be in a good spot.
Gabe, Mooney, and Cal. Am I missing anybody? Durangelo, Brash.
Oh, well, when you talk about guys that haven't even made their big league debuts yet that'll be playing in the WBC, you can throw Michael Arroyo into that because he'll probably play for Columbia.
Mm-hmm. But he won't be down there with that first batch. It'll be Durangelo, it'll be Gabe, it'll be Munoz, and it'll be Cal.
And Brash.
Yeah. It's a pretty good group. Oh, and Bizardo. Did Bizardo make Venezuela?
Oh, right. He's probably going to pitch for Venezuela. Yeah.
It's an exciting group. I'm happy for them. I am. I can't cross back what I said though. I can't be a flip-flopper. No one likes a flip-flopper. You got to stay consistent. Unfortunately, I have to stay consistent here.
Again, you can tell Gabe that yourself down in spring training. Gabe, I am thrilled for you. This is awesome. Please don't get hurt.
Yeah, it's like, I'm nervous as fuck right now. What are you going to do to calm me down?
Yeah, please don't get hurt.
Please. But, do you have anything else, or we'll get into the mailbag?
Well, there was another Brendan Donovan rumor today. Again.
I'm not even going to say his name. I refuse to say his name.
No more. Basically, Ken Rosen. I'm going to spend 30
seconds. Name redacted was mentioned alongside Lars Newbar, though.
I'll spend 30 seconds on this. Ken Rosenthal was asked Mailbag question on foul territory here on Thursday. He was asked if Donovan still makes the most sense for Seattle.
Say his name.
Oh, sorry, name redacted. My bad. If name redacted, still the best fit for Seattle. And Rosenthal said him and Lars Nootbaar, of all people, he could see in a package going to the Mariners. And I will leave it at that. We like Lars Nootbaar a ton. We got to talk to him late last year. He was awesome. He was the absolute man. I think that would be sick just from a content perspective for our own selfish sake if he was here. From a baseball perspective, I don't know how another right fielder fits into this mix.
Left-handed hitting right fielder.
Yeah. And we can leave it at that. Let's get to the mailbag.
Before we get into this mailbag, a reminder to you all, two things. Number one, we're having a trivia night at Queen Anne Beer Hall on February 11th, the evening of February 11th. It's going to be a ton of fun. We hope to see you all there. Just want to put the reminder out on all of these podcasts that we are having a trivia night. So in case you did not mark it on your calendar last episode, Lyle and I, again, are going to sit here and we're going to pause for 5 seconds while you pause the episode. Put it in your calendar so you know to show up at Queen Anne Beer Hall on the evening of February 11th. 3, 2, 1, go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's your calendar.
Great. Hope to see you guys all there. It's going to be fun. We're going to have prizes. We're going to have some great food and drink. It's going to be a fun time. It's going to get us ready for spring training, and it's going to get us ready for this 2026 Mariners season. Another reminder to you all, if you want priority for these mailbags, you listen to the mailbags every week and you think, man, it would be super cool if I got my question answered on the mailbag. Well, there's a way to do that. You go to our Patreon, patreon.com/MarineLairPod. If you sign up for our Patreon, you get a ton of awesome perks. You get access to ad-free episodes. You get priority for these mailbags. Your questions will be answered every week. And you have the opportunity to get on a video call with Lyle and us one time a month. Awesome opportunity there. You just got to go to our Patreon, patreon.com/MarineLairPod. Go check it out. First question on the mailbag comes from Michael. And Michael's not liking what he's seeing at this point of the offseason. He is saying the front office is being a little bit too timid with their actions and not putting their final step forward. He says this strategy feels like a stupid gamble. Do you guys think that this is consciously the front office strategy of how they're approaching the offseason? Just play slightly over 500 ball for this upcoming season, and then through the All-Star break, and then make a big splash when everyone's value is lower at the trade deadline.
I don't know how much I can say in response to Michael. I basically agree with everything he's saying. Yeah, I don't like this strategy. I don't like the idea of rolling into camp and into the regular season with this current roster. I'm not saying they can't be good. I'm not saying they won't be good. They'll probably still be AL West favorites. Vegas still has them as that with this current roster. But no, in terms of winning the World Series, I don't like the idea of basically trying to gamble on the first 4 months of the season. Maybe gamble's a harsh word, and it's not that extreme, but trying to play through the first 4 months of the season with this roster, be a bat short, and hope you get it at the trade deadline. No, I would go get another bat. If it was up to me, I'd go get 2 more proven established bats. But this is how the Mariners operate. If we've learned anything about this regime, they don't go out and try to win the offseason. They just don't. They're not going to do what the Blue Jays are doing. So I hope they go get one more bat. I hope it is name redacted at this point because he seems like the most viable option. And then you're at a point at the deadline where, yeah, you really go get aggressive and get a couple more significant pieces. But I'm with you, Michael. I would not deploy this strategy if it was me.
Do you think this is the front office's strategy?
Okay, we know what it really is about. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that because that's how I saw this. I don't think this is the front office's strategy. I think this is ownership strategy of what they're willing to invest into their roster, which is not enough to sign a Bo Bichette or an Alex Bregman. Maybe enough for Kyle Tucker. The offers are getting really high on K-Duck.
Which, by the way, this decision is supposed to come down in the next day or two, they're saying. They say it could be by...
happens while we're recording?
I was just thinking that. Either people will get a live reaction while we're recording here on Thursday evening, or it'll happen this weekend. And if it happens this weekend, I'll tell you what, I'm going to get my paper bag ready with the sad face.
Sorry, dog.
Well, we'll see. It's not done. Again, the Mariners could be sleeping in the shadows all this time like I've long believed. Anyway.
I also think off seasons have been off seasons have been kind of neutered a little bit. Like, I feel like with the expanded playoff, there's been less reason for teams to move players that they really like in the offseason. Because, like, 80% of teams in the offseason think they have a chance to compete this year and don't have a solid reason to trade good players. We even have the example of, like, this offseason. The Cubs are, like, really good now, so they're not going to trade Nico Horner. But the Ketel Marte example, like, the Diamondbacks still have a chance to compete with Ketel Marte, so they're like, sure, we're not trading Ketel Marte. That's not a chance. The Mariners can't control whether or not players are available on the trade market, which seemed like they were more available in the past than they are currently. But also when you don't invest in free agents, this is the only time free agents are available, and when that's not part of your long-term strategy consistently year over year, then yeah, there's going to be less action. One more thing. The trade deadline has something that the offseason does not, which always forces action. A deadline. Deadlines always force action. They always make teams make moves. It forces you to make a decision. You don't have to make a decision at all during the offseason if you don't want to. There's no reason to.
And the trade deadline will cause some desperation for teams that are going to sell. Because by the time you get to late July, there are going to be more than 20% of the teams that say, you know what, guys? It's not in the cards this year. We'll trade some of our pieces off for prospects. And the Mariners know that. And there's a reason they capitalize on the deadline every year. 3 of the last 4 years, they've had really good deadlines with Luis, with Randy, and obviously this past deadline with Naylor and Gino. But yes, like if this was up to me, I would be going and doing a lot more in the offseason. And this is what happens when you de facto ignore free agency. You cut yourself off to essentially just the trade route, and when teams don't want to trade, you're shit out of luck a lot of times. I would not deploy this strategy. But unfortunately, this is how the owners choose to operate. Motherfucker, it just happened.
Did it?
To the fucking Dodgers.
Oh, no. No, you're not serious.
No, I'm fucking serious.
You're not serious.
Fucking Lord, dude.
You're not serious.
Oh, I am. Look. Go look.
Oh, no.
Fuck.
Oh, no.
If I had the fucking paper bag next to me right now, it would be on my head with the fucking sad face. That is a team that wants to win. I'll tell you that right now. That team wants to win. And that is a team that cares about going to get somebody like Kyle Tucker. Woo! Man, I just took a picture.
I had to take a picture to send to our Dodgers friend. So, thoughts?
Terrible. I mean, unacceptable. That Etsy witch I paid, I want my $7 back. They said they work. These Etsy witches are frauds like I always believed. I didn't pay that money for nothing. I did not pay that money for nothing. I said, bring me Kyle Tucker. And those Etsy witches failed.
Do you know what's going to happen? We're going to do some content planning right here, live recording on the podcast. We're going to get off this podcast, and you're pulling your reaction to this and posting it ASAP.
We are, yes.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn it! Damn it! Unacceptable. That's gonna be like a 3-year deal too that he's about to sign.
I wouldn't be shocked if they upped the Mets, because the Mets deal was 3 years for $50 million a pop. I wouldn't be shocked if the Dodgers went 3 years like $55 million, and they defer a shit ton of it, so K-Tuck can retire early and still get his passive income.
What else just happened? There was another trade.
There's just another trade. Come on, Jerry needs to get in on this. 3-way trade, Tampa, Cincinnati, and the Angels are in agreement that would send Josh Lowe to the Angels, Gavin Lux, and Chris Clark to the Rays. And, well, that's just a lot of movement.
And Brock Burke to the Reds, who in the past has been really good. But
that one's not as important.
No. Damn it! You know what? I half am happy this happened while we're recording, because this is as raw reaction as you can possibly get. Honestly, it might have been worse if we hadn't been recording. You know what, man? This is why sports are dumb. You don't get your fucking hopes up for anything. That is 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears. Actually, more than that. More than 2 years of blood, sweat, and tears I poured into Kyle Tucker, dude.
Did this transaction just guarantee we're not getting a game next year?
A what?
We're not getting a game next year? Played?
A game for what?
Major League Baseball?
Oh, shit. I mean, teams are going to be pissed, I'm sure.
I mean, yeah, I could imagine. Like, the Dodgers don't even need Kyle Tucker.
Well, no, they've won back-to-back without him. Oh, shit. And it just clicked. Our friends over at Gate 14 are going to be furious.
Should we check in on how Johnny Junta is doing?
Man, this podcast went off the rails fast. We didn't know this was going to happen while we were recording. Dude, Johnny's going to be
It's Ohtani all over again, dog.
Dude, how does this happen? I mean, okay, let me stop here. The Blue Jays have had a very good offseason. They've killed it. However, how does this happen with every mega free agent in the Blue Jays? Shohei and Soto and Roki and Tucker and who else am I forgetting? It just keeps happening. Dude.
I need to see this contract. I'm fascinated.
Dude, that is brutal.
Sorry, dog. There will be no hiking this year. I'm heartbroken. I really wanted to see you hike up a mountain.
Dude, think about how legendary that vlog would have been if I had to be forced to hike. I would have done it, too. For that man, I would have done it. Dude.
Do you think you can continue with this mailbag? Are you going to need do we need to get you a break?
No, I don't need a break. Let's keep answering mailbag questions because the Mariners have a season to play that's going to be de facto ended by the Dodgers one way or another, either in the World Series or before that when they just get eliminated. But again, you know, being a sports fan is just the worst thing ever. You know, it's a waste of people's time. It's sad. It's an embarrassment. Why do I waste my time being a fan of sports? It's stupid. I want to see
better
the offer.
than I could have ever imagined.
I want to see that offer from the Mariners, which probably didn't exist, but
Definitely didn't exist.
Unacceptable. Again, Dodgers want to win.
They do. Hat tip to them. I honestly, as much as they're worth, I still have no idea where they keep getting the money from. They're going to have to pay even more. Like, is their normal salary now going to be over $400 million? And then they're going to pay another $200 million in tax?
They don't care.
Dude, how much money? Dude, Joey must be making them so much money. To make this transparent. Yeah, most teams in baseball, Lyle, cannot do what the Dodgers are doing.
Yeah. No, they cannot.
Steve Cohen invested on his casino too early. Maybe if he wasn't investing in his casino, he could have spared some cash for K-Tuck.
I think I have to tweet out this photo, naturally.
The one I just took of you?
No, the one that one of my other friends, or one of our other friends
sent. Yes. I'll hold it up to the camera as you're about to tweet it up for all those of you looking. Just a great all-time photo of you would think this is when K-Tuck signed. It was not. But maybe that's what it would have looked like if we weren't recording.
Probably, yeah.
Oh my goodness. God, that's so good. All right, can I read you the next mailbag question?
Fine. Let's keep going.
Okay. Josh, Lyle wants to... Josh wants to know who has the largest amount of ceiling remaining amongst any pitcher in the Mariners starting rotation currently. Not who has the highest ceiling, but who has the most room to reach their ceiling.
It is probably George Kirby. As I sit here and think about the Mariners rotation, it is probably Kirby because Kirby has not quite reached the peak that people think he is capable of reaching yet. We've seen Logan do it. We've seen Wu do it. We've seen, even Bryce in 2024 had a glimpse of it. But for even the 4-win seasons that Kirby's had, I think we still know there's more in the tank, right? And I think we know that he could have a legit Cy Young season if he just finds a way to miss some more bats, maybe not be so in the zone as often. But for a guy that throws as many strikes as him with the stuff that he has, he can still take the leap. I'd say he has the biggest room to still take a leap. He's just going to have to find an out pitch and, again, maybe be a little bit less in the zone.
The way I put it is Kirby's the only one in that rotation with the ace stuff who hasn't shown that he could be an ace for a full season. I don't think Bryce has that. Like, he's got, 2 starter level stuff. Wu has shown ace stuff. Logan has shown ace stuff. Kirby at times has shown ace stuff, given that he could strike out 14 batters in a game and throw 100 miles an hour with multiple breaking balls in a deeper arsenal than Bryce has. So, yeah, I'm with you. I think it's Kirby. I hope we see it this season. It'll make a huge difference. The Mariners could get their 3rd different ace in 3 seasons and maybe offset the fact that the Dodgers now have Kyle Tucker and the Mariners don't.
You're lucky I didn't just go full Frank the Tank on this pod. If honestly, you should be giving me credit. And what does Dale say in Step Brothers? I was at about a 6 there. You don't want to see me go to 10.
Yeah.
I hope Kirby finds a way to really have a breakout year this year because he can do it. He was a little bit less in the zone last year, which was a good first step, that he wasn't so locked in on, he wasn't so set on throwing as many strikes, but again, the out pitch is the key here.
And I'm dead serious with what I say about, if the Mariners are able to unlock a 3rd ace in the rotation, yeah, they're not going to spend as much money as the Dodgers, but having 3 potential aces in your rotation is a huge plus. And if you can't stack up monetarily, you might as well stack up development-wise. And the Mariners have an opportunity to do so with George Kirby. Next question comes from Xander, and Xander's question is, who are we most excited to see represent the Mariners in the WBC? I think we kind of answered this at the top of the episode, but now we can answer again.
Kyle Tucker? Oh, wait, he's not a Mariner! Sorry.
Is he playing?
Oh, wait, he's not. You
Right.
see where my head's at? I can't even see straight at this point. You know how I said... Actually, on Wednesday, remember how I was like, oh, I've been pretty good lately. I haven't had a meltdown. Oh, it got broken today. Today would be the day to tweet out that GIF from The Office where it says days since last nonsense, 0. That'd be today. It's amazing we're honestly sitting here and powering through recording the rest of this podcast as the news broke, even just trying to keep my head on straight and focus. You're seeing a person really struggle in real time with their own emotions, trying to get something done.
Do you know what I'm bummed I'm missing out on? Gate 14 is live right now.
Well, you can rewind.
Yeah, we can rewind and watch that one later. My answer to this question is seriously Julio, because Julio's obviously electric. He was fun in the last WBC, and he's playing on the most fun team. Nobody in the WBC has more fun than the Dominican Republic team, and that team is fucking loaded. So to see Julio go out there and star with some of the best players in baseball surrounding him, I think is the most awesome thing. And it's a joy to watch. The American team's stacked too, but they show their passion differently than the Dominican team does. And I think the Dominican team makes it way, 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 way more fun. And then Gabe, of course, because we have to.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see Gabe in the WBC like we talked about, but I'll go with a different answer. I'll say Cal, because we've seen Julio in the WBC, and it's great. But we haven't gotten to see Cal play in the WBC yet, so I'm excited to see him. Yeah. And you're still laughing at we're getting flooded with texts, with ats on Twitter. I mean, this is nuts.
Well, I just had to. Well, we're letting a couple of people know. Hey, we actually got this mid-recording. So, all right. Well, let's get through this episode so we can get the live reaction out to people that want to see it. Nick wants to know, Lyle, from Patreon, each of you name one interesting fact about yourself, non-baseball, non-sports, non-media world, that you think would surprise us listeners.
This is a good one. You start.
I have an easy one, but I think most people already know this. I'm an identical twin. Mm-hmm. My twin works in tech sales. Like, two totally different careers. Both love sports, but he lives in Manhattan. He sells stuff, makes a lot of money, does great, travels all over the place. We look very alike. I don't think we're very identical anymore, but if you see someone walking around maybe a Mariner game once a year, or if you live in New York and he looks just like me, but you know it's not me, it's probably who it is.
I mean, I think if people know you guys, you can tell the two of you apart. Like, I can tell the two of you apart pretty easily. But if you didn't and you haven't met each of you in person, it's easy to confuse. I mean, your brother said it's happened to him at Yankees games where people thought it was you.
It happened to him in Cooperstown.
That too.
When Ichiro was getting inducted, I'm like, oh yeah, that'll probably happen because there were a bunch of Mariner fans there. And I was like, dude, you should honestly just be like, play the part. It's like, yeah, I'll take a picture with you.
That'd be really funny. That'd be really funny if you did that.
People start tagging us, and I'm like, oh, I'm so proud of him.
I don't know. I feel like my favorite fun fact about myself is I'm really, really good at ping pong and basically don't lose, but that is a sports fact. So he asked for, I think, right?
I think we could throw ping pong into the non-professional sports world.
Yeah. I mean,
that's more of a niche thing. You almost played in a tournament yesterday.
I know. Our friends over at Queen Anne Beer Hall were having a tournament, and there were some people playing. Brian Walters was in the tournament, who we know and is awesome. Terry Holloman, who's an old UW football player who still does a bunch of stuff in the area, was there. Oh, no. What's the deal?
4 years for $240 million. Yeah, no wonder.
Well, it's only 4 years, not my money. Should have done it.
What is the AAV on that?
Oh, that's got to be 70 million. No, I have that wrong. 80 million? I don't know. What? No, it's not 80.
How is that even possible? That money, they have to have deferred that money for like 3 decades. There's no way.
We are talking about the Kyle Tucker contract for those that didn't pick up on that. But yes, he just got 4 years for $240. You know what? 4-year deals. You know what the Mariners don't want to commit to?
$60 million a year. Yeah, no wonder he signed with the Dodgers. The Blue Jays and the Mets weren't even close.
Say that again. Wait, what's the AAV?
$60 million a year. The Blue Jays and the Mets are not even close.
Okay. What do the Mariners say they don't want? Long-term contracts. That's a 4-year deal, baby. 4-year deal. They could have easily, well, I shouldn't say easily because that is not true. $60 million a year is a lot. But they wanted a short-term deal right in front of you. 4 years? That's all of K-Talk's prime? That's his prime.
Do you think that's a good contract?
Huh? It can be a bad
contract. Do you think that's a good contract?
I mean, that is a lot of money, but it's only 4 years.
Like if K-Tuck repeats what he did last season in a walk year, it's a bad contract for everyone except the Dodgers, who apparently have no limit to what they can spend. That's insane. $240. Dude, I remember when Robbie Cano's 10-year contract for $240 was a lot of money. Kyle Tucker's getting that in 4 years. 4 years of playing. Again, they have to defer that. There has to be at least 10 years worth of deferrals in there, if not more. This is the last offseason that they're going to allow deferrals. So they might as well defer as much money as humanly possible.
Yeah, I mean, why not? And if K-Tuck's fine with it and says, sure, I'll take money every year for not having to play, why not?
Well, I think the reporting I was seeing out there on K-Tuck is that the Anthony Rendon syndrome was right, and that he doesn't want to play forever, and that he can sign this deal for 4 years, clearly collect 10 years worth of money, or at least get 10 years worth of money deferred to him at some point, and he can go retire and live in Tampa the whole time.
Yeah, or he basically works for another 4 years on a team where it's got to be super motivating to want to work hard for, because the Dodgers are the Dodgers. You'll probably win at least 3 titles in your 4 years, and then you can be done. Your legacy will be great. I mean, unless he really cares about getting into the Hall of Fame, which I guess we'll only know with time if he does. And if that's the case, he'll keep playing. If not, he'll retire early. But in these 4 years, I mean, if he wins 3 World Series and makes a couple more All-Star games, his legacy looks pretty good. So what is that?
I'm gonna have a hard time getting over that number.
So hold up. So what is the lineup now going to be? It's going to be Shohei, Mookie, Freddie, K-Tuck, Will Smith, Muncy.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting a couple. Pajes.
Yeah. Miguel Rojas, of course.
Nah, he'll be on the bench. But I don't know.
I mean, that's like roughly right. Who's their second baseman?
Tommy Edman.
Great. Tommy Edman and the Avengers.
No, Tommy Edman's good, though.
I know. I'm joking.
But I don't know. Maybe the positions are easier. So you have Will Smith at catcher, Freddie at first, Mookie at short, Edman at second/center, but let's call it second. You have Muncy at third. You have K-Tuck in right. You would have Pajes.
Teoscar.
Teo. Yeah, you have Teo in right. And K-Tuck in
center.
K-Tuck in left and Pajes in center. Yeah, so Teoscar's going to hit like sixth on that team. Good Lord.
Well, I think that some Dodgers fans want him hitting lower.
Well, now they have K-Tuck.
Sorry. I think you can offset it a little bit.
Oh, my God, dude.
But I do feel like we'll see some complaints about K-Tuck sometime this year. I'll make that prediction now.
Maybe. Still should have been here.
Yeah.
4 years, dog. That ain't 10 years.
You and I both know the Mariners are not going to pay $240 million over 4 years.
Well, they should have.
All right, let's get to another solid. I think this is the first time we've been asked this question. This is from Luke on YouTube, and he mentions.
Actually, hang on. Do I need to think of another fun fact for people besides being really good at ping pong?
Do you have another one?
Yeah, I was going to say. So I rarely ever lose at ping pong. I know I almost played in that tournament on Wednesday, but we didn't end up having quite enough time. Another fun fact. I mean, I'm trying to think. I mean, I boycotted Starbucks for 20 years. That does have a sports-related tie to it because Howard Schultz owned the Sonics, shipped him out of town, and I said, yeah, at basically 8 years old, I ain't buying from that place ever again. So here we are 20 years later. I'm not a coffee drinker.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
I feel
that's
like
a solid fun fact.
Yeah, there's a couple. If people want me to elaborate on further ones, or this question wants me to elaborate on a further one, you can always send us a DM, and I can think of some others.
K-Tuck has opt-outs after the second and third seasons of the contract, in case he wants to retire early.
Or if he thinks he's going to leverage this with a 10-year deal in a couple years.
There's no way.
I don't know. Because he's 29 right now, right?
Yeah. I don't think his value is getting higher. I'd be
Probably
shocked.
not. Probably not.
Based off all the reporting on how invested he is in baseball, I would be shocked.
AK that maybe he isn't as invested as he could be, you mean?
Yeah, what Joel Sherman said on the record he has he has Anthony Rendon syndrome. Red flag. Red flag. Red flag.
Guess what? 4 years, dog. I maybe at like 9 years that's a problem. 4 years? I don't see K-Tuck falling off a cliff.
It was a problem with Anthony Rendon within the first year.
Well, I don't see it happening with K-Tuck. Not with the Dodgers, that's for sure.
Well, I guess we'll see. Time will tell. All right, let's get to Luke's question. He was listening to our appearance on Locked On Mariners, where we appeared on Wednesday, and Colby brought up one of his trade targets potentially for the Mariners this offseason being Isaac Paredes. We didn't expand on it at all, and he wants us to expand on it now. So, Lyle, Isaac Paredes.
I just don't know how he would fit in Seattle. Number one, for anybody that wanted to dunk on us, how fitting for a topic at a time like this. For anybody that used to want to dunk on us for the idea of the Astros trading Kyle Tucker to the Mariners, I also don't know why the Astros would trade Isaac Paredes to the Mariners, paired with, I've said this about Paredes in the past, and I will stand by this. Isaac Paredes is a good baseball player in 5 ballparks. Otherwise, he's not. Isaac Paredes is a good baseball player in Tampa, in Houston. He'd probably be a good player in Boston, and you can throw out a couple others. But this guy solely relies on pulling fly balls for home runs that fall over the fence by 5 feet. If Isaac Paredes were to play in Seattle, I think it'd be an utter disaster because he's already not a good defender. You'd be banking on his bat, and his bat in a pitcher's park like that, oh, I think that'd be a disaster. So I don't see that one working. I don't blame Colby for throwing it out there. I get it because like we talked about with both Ty and Colby on Locked On, they don't have that many options at this point, and Colby's trying to think outside the box. So credit to him. But he said basically the same thing I'm saying right now. I think that would present a problem if Paredes was going to play in Seattle. So yes, I have stamped this about Paredes for a while, and I believe it. In 5 ballparks, he's a good player. Seattle is not one of those 5 ballparks where he'd be a good player. In fact, that's probably about first percentile scenario for Paredes. Look what he did in Chicago. He was not good.
There's some other reasons why he's not a fit too. Number one, he's a Houston Astro currently. Why would the Astros trade him to the Mariners?
I just said that.
Yeah. Number two, Mariners have, for what they hope, established long-term options at third base and first base by the end of next year. The pitch on Paredes is that he's young and that you'd want to control him for a while. If the Mariners don't want to control him for a while, why would they go outside the box to get him? Right?
Yeah.
They wouldn't. And the ballpark thing is totally real. The Mariners have the 6th worst park. I looked this up on Baseball Savant. 6th worst park when it comes to how the park affects fly balls, and the Mariners is the 6th shortest for expected distance from fly balls in terms of added or subtracted based off of the weather conditions. Do you know what's ahead of him? The one ballpark that Isaac Paredes has played in that he really struggled. Chicago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And he would be expensive probably for what you'd need to acquire and doesn't really fit.
Especially if you tried to trade for him from a team that's your in-division rival. So, yeah. All right, we can keep going as I try to power through.
I can't wait for this clip. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be great. Moose Knuckles on Twitter asks, why isn't there a larger conversation about contract years for Randy Arozarena and JP Crawford? Wanting big contracts can mean having career years for a lot of players, maybe huge if it happens.
JP, I just don't see where the fit's going to be because I think after this year, Colt Emerson's going to be the shortstop.
No, it's not signing. It's banking this year of them having a contract, like a great contract year, and not factoring that in enough.
Oh, could that add to the Mariners' win total, you mean?
Yes.
Sure, absolutely. And we saw what J.P. Crawford did in 2023. Maybe he'll be really motivated here in 26 to play like that, to earn a big contract when he hits free agency, so that's possible. Randy Arozarena is a Scott Boras guy, so if you want to talk about somebody that could get a lot of money with a big walk year, sure, he's going to be motivated too. It's hard to know how much you can factor that in because obviously you can't get inside the head of a player and you can't predict the future, but would I say those guys are motivated? Of course. I think any player is motivated in a contract year to have a big year because you know what it can do for your free agency and how much money you can earn yourself.
I don't think it's something you can rely on, though.
No.
You can't just sit here and be like, it's okay, we're not trading for Brendan Donovan because JP and Randy are going to have career contract years. That would be great if it happens, and the Mariners might just win a World Series if that happens. Well, or lose to the Dodgers, but make the World Series if that happens. But it's not something you can bank on. It also could happen where you acquire Teoscar Hernandez in a contract year. You're like, oh, contract year Teoscar. He's going to crush it. Did Teoscar crush it?
Not really.
No. And no one wanted him back either. So it can be a little bit of a risk to rely upon that. Just don't. Relying on outliers within your own roster is not a sustainable strategy. It doesn't lead you to win more games necessarily. That'd be like hoping Cal hits 60 home runs again and crafting your entire offseason around that. They're not doing that.
No, they won't. But I hope they do come out and play like that because it would give the Mariners a real edge and could really up their win total, like you said, in 26. Until they face Kyle Tucker and the Dodgers in the World Series and they'll get swept. But let's keep moving on.
The final question of this mailbag comes from Dylan on Instagram. Non-M's question, because there's zero movement. Respect, creativity, love it. How much time is spent on each show prepping and recording?
Oh, good question. I will say, for as much as we love answering all the baseball questions, if you guys have questions like this, or like the one we got about a random fact about yourself that's non-sports related, yes, send stuff like that. Because like I said on Wednesday's episode, I think both of us want to try and be as personable as we possibly can. And I think we do a lot of it and have done a lot of it over the first 3 years. But we want to try to do even more of it because we want everybody to feel like they know us as much as they possibly can. So this is a good question because it takes people behind the curtains. Prepping for the podcast itself. So we learned this in broadcast school, in journalism school, because we did a lot of play-by-play broadcasting. The rule of thumb they used to say is however long you're going to be on the air, you should double that in terms of your prep time. So if we were going to broadcast a football game, you're on the air for 3 hours. You'll usually spend at least 6 hours prepping for it. Now, that's not all in one sitting. You'll break it up throughout the week or throughout a couple weeks when you know you're going to broadcast the game. But for these podcasts, yeah, I would say anywhere from an hour to 2 hours that we'll sit down and prep for this stuff and find notes and bring nuggets to the show that we think are going to provide some good context. Now, we try not to go too crazy with it because we are numbers people, but I think both of us really pride ourselves on being, again, personalities, relatable, wanting to connect with everybody listening. And if you're just throwing number after number after number, you're going to sound a little robotic. So we do a lot of prep. We don't use all of it, but we try to balance it in a way that makes it relatable. That being said, we don't want to run out of things to say either. So we try to find a lot of things to talk about.
The preview episodes are definitely the longest. Preview and review episodes. So the ones we do essentially in March and the ones we do after the season ends either in October or November take the most prep time because we're going through like every single player and breaking down like what we saw, what we're expecting, like all these things, storylines, questions, all that. When there's games being played, it's easier to be a little bit more efficient. During the off season, we're just reacting to things for the most part. We'll see some stuff, we'll take some notes. The free agent profiles take a little bit of time too. So the more, I'd say, the more like, I don't know, pre-prepared we have something, the more time we'll spend on it. But there are times where we can be a little bit more efficient with our prep time. So to answer your question, at this time of year, it's usually about an hour for the episode, roughly.
That's fair. And like you said, during the season, it's a little easier because things are easier to react to. It's not quite like the off season, but you can react to things, and there are things that are very relevant at that point in time that you dive in on for a little bit. For example, during the regular season, when we'll do our 3 Mariner storylines throughout an episode, and we'll try to highlight some things that were important over the course of the few days that we haven't recorded. Yeah, we'll pick out a couple storylines and we'll dive in on it. If we're going to talk about Logan Gilbert's fastballs played up in the last few starts, we'll do some stuff on that. And then if we talk about Julio's hitting lefties or hitting righties better than he usually does, we'll dive into that a little bit, and we'll stretch out some time spans on Fangraphs where, oh, in the last 2 weeks he's done this, before that he did this, and you can see the difference here. Why could that be? So usually when stuff gets specific like that, I mean, that helps too, because you know exactly what you want to dive in on, but that doesn't take quite as much time as, like you said, previews, reviews, when there's a lot of notes to do.
Mm-hmm. Good question, though. It's some people, I'll give them credit for their podcast. They can just sit down, turn the mic on, start talking. Our friend Adam Ray, he probably does some prep when he has guests on. When you watch him do his podcast about last night, there's nothing in front of him. He's got a bottle of water usually. His phone is face down, and he's just talking. He just starts talking and goes off like whatever way his mind takes him. Some people are really good at just doing that, and they don't need it. They don't need prep time.
I don't know how Adam does it either, which is why he is as wildly successful as he is, because he can just monologue, and he turns everything into a funny joke, and he spins that off a pop culture reference or a sports reference or historical reference. It can be anything. I mean, Adam's ability to not just light up a room, but also be a personality and monologue in an interesting way for as long as he does, and spin off all these unique and hilarious aspects of things into his show or into a live event that he's doing. It's amazing. We are unfortunately not Adam Ray, so we can't quite do that. But yes, there are people out there like that.
Good batch of mailbag questions. Thank you guys for hanging with us through this episode. It must have been so much more entertaining than some of our other mailbag episodes. I feel like people might have tuned into this episode not even here to hear the mailbag questions. They just wanted to hear your crash out over the remaining 30 minutes of the episode we had to do after Kyle Tucker signs.
I think this is going to have to be the thumbnail. It's Mariners miss out on Kyle Tucker and like Lyle loses it.
Yes, that's what the audio version is going to be labeled. Lyle crashes out over Kyle Tucker signing
mid recording,
mid episode.
I mean, if you guys want to help cheer me up and take me out of my pain, misery, and suffering, go subscribe on YouTube. Otherwise, I might just drown myself in sorrows for the rest of the offseason. So hey, why don't you go subscribe on YouTube to help us out? It would, if you like, every YouTube subscription sheds away one less tier. So please go subscribe. All right, that just about does it for this edition of the Marine Layer Podcast. You guys know the drill. You want to listen to the full form podcast, you can do so wherever you get your audio pods. Go download if you're listening, rate and review, 5 stars. Tell me why the Mariners are still somehow going to have a chance this year, despite Kyle Tucker not being on the team. You can let us know in the Apple reviews if you want to write a written review. That'd be awesome. On YouTube, please go subscribe, drop a comment. Tell us why the Mariners didn't get Kyle Tucker, why they absolutely should have, and let him go to the Dodgers. I don't know. So, yeah, again, comments. Let us know. Maybe you have better reasoning than us, but we won't know unless you tell us. So, comments. Kyle Tucker. We need him. You can check us out on our website, marinelayerpod.com. All our merch is there. Patreon's there. Maybe we'll make some merch with a crying Lyle with no Kyle Tucker to the Mariners. Maybe we'll drop that on the website too. So, yeah, if you guys want to do that, you can go check that out. Hopefully we'll have a new merch drop with new Kyle Tucker merch in the next couple weeks. Yeah, go check it out. And then you can follow us across social media at Marine Layer Pod. You're probably going to want to see this clip get tweeted out. So, yeah, why not go follow us? That's TJ. I'm Lyle. As always, we thank you guys for tuning in. Rip Kyle Tucker, and we'll talk to you soon.